Welcome. Thanks for joining me for today's mini talk. It's our dream here at Drive By D&D to get one-to-one mini representation for our D&D games because minis are da bomb. If you saw episode 1, you know I'll be sharing my ever-expanding minis collection, going over each monster's characteristics, and providing answers to tough questions such as how and why I collected the minis and why I feel they're important to have in your D&D games. But please be sure to leave your thoughts in the comments below. Today, we take a drive-by look at a simple but always important enemy type, the Guard. Although somewhat mundane and unassuming, don't let these patient wallflowers fool you. Their orderly presence is always necessary in cities, towns, and protecting high-value NPCs. Not to mention, bold players risk finding themselves either in jail or much worse, on the end of a sharp spearhead if they aren't careful. With that said, let's mini-talk. The Guard is a medium humanoid whose fundamental purpose is to maintain order as members of the City Watch, serve as sentries in battle-torn regions, and often serve as bodyguards for nobles and merchants. Much like in real life, guards are designed to be acutely aware of his or her surroundings. Also, a guard is hardly found alone, and if so, is able to call for a steady supply of reinforcements when necessary. It's no wonder then that a guard has a +2 perception bonus alongside its fair passive perception of 12. Armed with a trusty spear, the Guard can engage in melee combat, throw the weapon at distant targets, and make two-handed attacks to deal more damage. Furthermore, its sturdy chainmail and shield gives the Guard an AC 16, which helps the Guard stand its ground when confronted by unruly townsfolk. Therefore, player characters should take heed when guards are present. If not, they could find themselves locked away in a dungeon awaiting a confrontation with a truly terrible foe. The Law. Now, let's take a look at my collection. Alright, behold, the collection. Now, you saw probably at the start, I had sort of these models over here, these gray-green guys, and also I have these sort of more heavily armored guard types. And it's very important that I have both. These guys that are a little bit more ornate, I would use for cities that are, really well-renowned towns where maybe the king is. His guards look a little bit more expensive, a little bit more heavily armored, a little bit more tough. Whereas I use these models for smaller villages, or as you see here, escorting maybe some goods from one town to another. Now, getting guards was important to me, and this group of guards I really liked. I got them from Dwarven Forge. I can't remember the specific price, but it was between $40 and $50, and I have 20 in total. And what I liked about them is that they all have, there's a few different variations, right? Some are wielding two-handed weapons, some have shields, some have 2 weapons, and there's even really this cool character that I like as sort of like a commander, and I'll often provide this guy with veteran stats. He leads the guards, and that's always a little trick I use with all my guards in general. So guards are a low challenge rating, but it's good to give some veteran stats to toughen them up in case the heroes are a bit of a higher level. Those are my Dwarven Forge models. I really do like them, so make sure you check that out if you just need a quick set of guards. However, as I mentioned, I needed 2 different models. So these models are old Warhammer Empire models. I used to collect Warhammer, Dark Elves were my army, and these were actually given to me by a friend. So you might see my Dark Elves later on, but for now, a friend gave me all his old Empire units, and I have about 20 of these guys as well. As I mentioned, guards are numerous. They can pile out from many different areas. There should be a lot of them in one big city in case the characters do start causing trouble or something happens. So in this scene here, it is good that anytime players are going to a city, a village, or town, I would use these guards so that if they are causing trouble in a tavern, if they are attempting, maybe the party has rogues or wizards and they're trying to sneak around, guards are perfect to keep the players on their toes. They'll have to make stealth checks, and if they do have an altercation with any of the citizens, they do have to answer to the law. So that's why these 2 types of models are important to me, and I like the distinction between kind of you know, you're in a big city, these guys are more ornate and flowery. Their costumes are more flowery. These guys are a little bit more dull and plain and, you know, in those small town landscapes. You know, exactly, maybe escorting goods through an area. So those are just a couple different ways that you can use guards. I think they're important to have, and I hope you enjoyed checking out these different models. As I mentioned, the guard is a simple enemy, but it truly makes up for that due to its high utility throughout a medieval world. Even labeling it an enemy is a misnomer because while guards might act alert and suspicious and will use force if necessary, they are in many ways neutral. Therefore, a sneaky or charismatic player can often get the best of them with a juicy bribe, a convincing tale, or by actually just adhering to their authority. Go figure. However, that's what makes the guard powerful. Its presence alone indicates to players that doing what they want in any given area will have consequences and their actions are under high scrutiny. As I mentioned earlier, the guard can be utilized in many ways within all three main encounter types: exploration, social, and combat. As a DM, that makes the guard a highly versatile enemy when playing in encounters. All those great benefits aside, my favorite aspect of the guard is that player characters might end up fighting and killing them. However, the guard is just an everyday person doing his or her job. He or she has a family at home, taxes to pay, and would rather not die today. So the players do have to contend with the morality of killing a guard and might start questioning themselves. Wait, who's the bad guy in this adventure again? Not to mention, the full force of the City Watch will be after them. It's always fun to see a player character disagree with authority only for it to go too far. Good times. Overall, the guard is a must-have miniature to collect. It's an enemy type that you most likely already include in your adventurer, but hopefully I shed light on why I believe there's more use to guards than meets the eye. Okay, that's it for this mini talk. I hope you enjoyed my look at the guard. Please share your thoughts, ideas, or stories about guards in the comments below, and I'll see you next time. And remember,
all D&D, all day long, all night till dawn.